Hey, Monday Movie Club fans. We're back to the MCU this week, which is the whole reason we started this group was to watch the MCU movies. So here we are.
31 movies later.
Right.
Just like
Today we
Baskin
discuss
Robbins.
Right.
31 flavors. This is the 31st official movie of in the
Wait, hold on. Are there any
MCU.
unofficial movies?
Yeah.
Well,
There's some Spider-Mans.
I think at this point, because of No Way Home and Doctor Strange
Yeah.
in the multiverse of madness, I guess the entire X-Men series and Sony Spider-Man series have become unofficial movies.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's ones
Fantastic
definitely out
Four.
of the
No,
canon.
don't go crazy.
Yep,
Don't go
well,
crazy
it's the
yet.
same thing.
It's not the same thing because nobody's from those movies have appeared yet.
They're gonna.
They're gonna.
I think so.
And yeah, like the James Bond movies, there's only ones that are the official canon. I'm Frank Gaffney. Here with us is Fenster, Annie King back from Hawaii. That's why she's
Woo!
sad right now. Amy Goldman and Cringer. And Mark Wotitz Gartner, who has a picture up, so I guess he liked this movie. That is it's an indicator. Don't you think?
It's true.
Okay, so you already know how I feel about multiverses and bizarro worlds and time travel. The stakes never seem as high to me because there's another timeline or another world where the same hero is another different hero and the villain is another different villain. That being said, I did enjoy Quantumania. Okay, here's the basic plot. Ant-Man's daughter, Cassie, creates a machine that communicates with the quantum realm, and then they all get sucked into it, basically. And Michelle Pfeiffer was there for 30 years, but, like being in Vietnam or the Great War, as Archie Bunker used to say, she didn't like to talk about it. But
Which, by the way, I just want to say that's one of my few gripes about this whole thing is that they talk about in Endgame, the whole thing was that Scott Lang was in there for 6 hours and it was 6 years out here. Michelle Pfeiffer was in there for 30 years and it was 30 years.
Yeah.
It should have been 30 hours. It makes no sense. So sorry, that's it. End of my rant.
Well, but maybe she just kept saying 30 years because that's how it felt in the real world, but she was
it should have been played by an actress that was like 5 years older than Evangeline Lilly. That's all I'm saying. Not Michelle Pfeiffer. It should have been someone who was much younger.
She shouldn't have aged 30 years.
Correct.
Right. But she's certainly a lot younger than Michael Douglas.
Yeah, I would say so.
So, all right. But it certainly would have helped if she had talked about it, because then we wouldn't have had all the trouble we had in this show. Okay. But at least she has a lot more to do in this movie, and I thought she did a great job. She's reserved and powerful. It's a beautiful performance, especially in her scene with Jonathan Major as Kang the Conqueror. I think it would have been nice to see a little bit more of their friendship when she was down there.
Yeah.
So then it would have made what happens between him and the president.
You
in the present a little more meaningful. But Jonathan Majors as Kang was fucking epic.
Agreed.
I think he's going to be right up there with Thanos, which is very encouraging since he's going to be the focus of this phase that we all will be going through. And what was so great about him really was that he didn't feel the overwhelming urge of almost every character in the MCU to be snarky or give us a quip.
You're right. He was very even keel the whole time.
Yeah.
He was a straight up badass, and that was perfect.
Yeah.
Although this film was a little less lighthearted than the previous two Ant-Men. It had a nice sense of humor. There were little things going on, and Paul Rudd, of course, is adorable. I did LOL, laugh out loud to you old people, twice. One was when the Blob said, "I got holes."
Yeah.
I actually laughed out loud. The other one I don't remember. All right. Somebody remembers that, let me know.
Bill Murray?
No. I mean, it was fun to see Bill Murray, but as fun as it was, he's no Jeff Goldblum.
Right.
Right.
Sorry.
Fair.
It was something just off. He wasn't playful enough.
Oh, I thought he was.
No, it just,
Honestly, his role in the film kind of read to me as, hey, my kids or my grandkids think I
Yeah.
should be part of the MCU. So how do I get in here?
Well, that's exactly
No,
it. I
and-
totally read that he said he wanted to be in one of the movies.
Yeah. So.
yeah, and they gave him $1 million to work for a few days, and he was happy
Right.
about it.
But I didn't
So
put effort into it really. So
yeah, he didn't seem Bill Murray enough for me.
But to us, like I know Annie, and I had no idea he was in the movie. I hadn't read anything.
No, I
about
didn't. I didn't know
it.
that
It was
either.
fun seeing him.
Yeah, that's what I said. I didn't know he was in it, and it was fun to see him.
you guys didn't see any of the trailers?
No,
Okay.
I knew he was going to be in it, but I had no idea what part. So when he showed up and they just showed his boots walking, I was like, "Who the hell is this guy?" And then boom, it was good.
Okay, so visually, the quantum world was well done. All CGI'd and shit. But sometimes it was like this looks like a screensaver on my computer. It was like what? And I think there was just too much going on for an Ant-Man movie.
yeah,
So many stories, so many characters, and it lost a little bit of the Ant-Man being the everyday blue collar guy who just gets sucked up into this world. I mean, I think the movie was almost too big for him. They should rename it Kang the Conqueror versus the Ant Fam. But so, Joel, is MODOK a thing in the comic books?
Yes, MODOK is a thing in the comic books. He has no connections whatsoever to any of these characters. He's just his own villain. I would highly recommend on Hulu. There is a MODOK TV series with Patton Oswalt voicing the character. It's animated and it is hysterical.
really.
Yeah.
Well, I think it was just so weird with the face blown up the way it was. It just looked weird.
Yeah,
And
that's what he looks like, though.
yeah, but I'm talking about the CGI, not
Oh,
the
sure.
fact that he had it was just so weird.
I
Bizarre.
thought
Bizarre.
I thought it was distractingly weird.
Yeah,
Right.
I definitely
Like
did.
this.
Right.
Like this.
And I think he was kind of silly. We just did not need him in this movie. It was one thing too many. And Michael Douglas showing up with the ant army, that was a fun moment. I thought that was fun. But why is Evangeline Lilly so bad at this? It really is. There's no on-screen chemistry. I'm glad with Rudd. I'm glad that she really didn't have too much to do.
Agreed.
Plot-wise, she just seemed like an afterthought. It didn't seem like.
Is that what happens when you don't get vaccinated? You
Oh, maybe that was it. She didn't want to be near anybody.
And she was the one who chose, I'm sorry, I always read the trivia, to wear that awful, awful haircut. Because the
Yeah.
original character in the comic strip, right, Joel, has a pixie cut. So she was going for that look, but it was horrible.
the Wasp has had a pixie cut every now and then, but it's not like, oh, that's her normal haircut. She's had
Right.
different types of hairstyles over the years, depending on which Wasp we're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, the wig did her no service.
No.
And more than anything else, this movie was sadly lacking some Michael Pena.
That's one of my notes. Absolutely.
Sadly lacking.
Absolutely.
And he could have been in it, even if he was just in the framing device.
I was saying that to Danielle. I came home and I said they could have had him he could have been there in the beginning, seen them all get sucked in, and then the whole movie's trying to get them back, even though he's doing absolutely nothing, just for some comedy.
Right.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I rated the other two Ant-Man as 3 stars. And this one gets 3 stars as well, but I think it was my least favorite of the 3. But even so, Quantumania works as a kind of culmination of the Ant-Man series. Is he done now? I don't know. Is he? I guess not.
Is anybody ever done?
And it's a good way to start things in motion for Phase 5. We got a little worried there with Phase 4. So I think it's definitely a promising roadmap of where the saga is going right now. So I'm going with 3 stars. Annie, did you have fun?
Yeah. Did you also look up what I gave the other 2 movies also?
Yes.
Okay.
The original Ant-Man was 3.25. and Ant-Man and the Wasp was 3.5.
Okay, just so I have a frame. But yeah, no, we enjoyed it. I liked it a lot. It was fun. You covered pretty much all of it. There was a lot going on with the whole quantum realm world and stuff. So there was lots to, and like I said to Amy, I have to like watch it again just
Yeah.
to get everything,
Yeah.
like
Yeah, I
there's a
think
lot
that's one of
Yeah.
the odd things about watching the movies when they actually come out. When we were doing it the last time, some of you had seen the movies 2 and 3 times, so you had a nice idea
Yeah.
of what you thought of it. But now it's like we're just going off the cuff.
Yeah. So that was a lot, buildings that move and that one, like, don't all your buildings move? And there's a lot going on in there and everything. But overall, I enjoyed it a lot. It was good. So 3.25 for me. And like you said, I kind of miss it was a little more lighthearted, the other two. It
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
a little more fun, but I have to watch it again and see and try to digest more of it, I
Yeah.
think.
Cringer,
How many stars did I give the others?
3.5 on Ant-Man, but only 3 stars for Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yeah,
I
I
think
do
you should.
remember.
I think you should move Cringer's lips forward.
I do. I do remember liking the first one. He's gonna leave if I keep doing that. Liking the first one better, and this one I'm gonna. I really don't have much to say. There, I was very, very tired, and I was kind of falling in and out of sleep early on when it was all. I knew he was gonna leave when it was all going like crazy with so many people fighting, and the character of Jen Tora, who I remember so clearly because I work with someone named Jen Toro. So I was like, I'm gonna remember that name. So that whole crazy fighting and so much going on, I was like, kind of like, what the hell is going on? But then it all fell into place and it was great and I enjoyed it. I didn't love it. I'm also giving this one 3 stars. It was just a little too much. And I was having a fight with someone Friday because he said there was a Marvel movie on Channel 7, so we couldn't watch Shark Tank, some kind of preview. So I came in and I looked at it, it was The Mandalorian. I said, okay, Star Wars and Marvel have nothing to do with each other. And then I'm watching yesterday, I'm thinking, okay, this movie is a little more sci-fi to me than superhero to me. So I was like, well, this one's kind of like Star Wars. But anyway, I obviously didn't take notes and I obviously never remember anything. I loved, like you said, I loved Michelle Pfeiffer. I thought she was terrific. I thought the guy who played Kang, who I don't remember his name because I never heard of him before, I loved
Jonathan
him.
Majors, he was in Loki.
Oh,
Yes.
At
And
the end of
Lovecraft
Loki.
County,
In
whatever.
Lovecraft
Who's Kang?
Country, Lovecraft County, and he's in.
No, I meant
Black
as
Man
far
in
as the
San
MCU
Francisco.
goes.
He's an amazing actor.
He
he's
was in
terrific.
Loki.
I have
He's
not.
coming up. He's the bad guy in Creed 3, which is coming up next month, which I'm looking forward to.
He's
And the
getting
dude
good
is
reviews in that
he's truly jacked.
Yeah.
I gotta watch Creed 2 because I love Creed 1. Can we discuss Creed? 4
Yes.
star. 4-star movie.
I don't know about
But I
4
never saw
stars, but
2 because that's
no,
me.
the first two were the second one is good too, but we should get off that. Yes.
Yeah. So that's it. 3 stars. Liked it.
But-
Didn't love it.
I think it's fine to discuss Creed since you had nothing to say about Ant-Man.
I know.
Gotta talk about something. You have airtime. I have a lot to do.
I give my I can't remember the word to Mark.
Passing the baton.
Yes, courteously.
Yeah, this is going to be a short recording, I think, because I don't have all that much either.
I'll fill it.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
You guys are right.
Out there.
You guys are right. It's definitely not as lighthearted, and I did miss a lot of the comedy. However, I liked it a lot better than I thought it would. The trailers didn't do it for me. just discussions that we've had on Facebook and everything. I kind of felt like just the MCU in general was kind of, no, I enjoyed it. But I will start with the big negatives. For me, there's just 2. One, not MODOK so much, but just his interaction with Cassie. The whole "you're a dick, I'm a dick." It was just, and I feel like I suddenly turned to Barry Hattrick because I was like, it's so juvenile and stupid. I was like, oh, come on. That wasn't funny for me.
That's why I'm writing him out of the movie. Just gonna edit that part out.
There you go. And the other negative was what Frank you already said. It's missing Luis and the ex-con gang. I mean, come on, that they're part of the Ant-Man stories, and just to like exclude them completely, not reference.
Technically, one of them's in the movie.
Yes, I saw David Dashmalchian, whatever the hell his name is, show up at the end. I don't know where he must have been one of the.
He was the voice of the
credits.
"I've got holes" guy.
Oh,
Yeah, I was gonna
Oh,
say,
okay.
the guy who plays the Blob is somebody different,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay. Did not realize that. Anyway, what else did I have? I enjoyed Bill Murray's cameo. Whatever you guys already said, basically about Jonathan Majors, Michelle Pfeiffer. I mean, everyone, great acting all around. I like the new characters. I like the fact that Michelle Pfeiffer kind of got around down there. I love the scene where she was saying, "Hey, I had needs over 30 years," and the daughter's like, "Mom." That was funny. It was just fun and silly. Good fighting, good story. It all moved well. And like I said, I really wasn't looking forward to this movie, but Marvel delivered for me. So I'm gonna give it 3.25 stars. And I'd like to know
considering that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I want to know what my stars were for the other two as well.
Okay. 3.25 are Ant-Man and 3.5 for Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Really?
And considering that Michelle Pfeiffer's needs were being met by Jonathan Majors, I would have stayed for 30 years too.
I
No,
thought they were
they were
gonna.
being met by Bill Murray.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Then I would have left. Joel, now, I'm always about source material.
Yes.
And so is this whole quantum realm a series of the comics?
Well, here's what I can tell you about what I know about some of the source material that's involved in this. I believe the quantum realm is a thing in the Marvel universe in the comics. I haven't regularly read Marvel comics in a long time, so I have my working knowledge is a little lacking in more.
So this is a relatively new concept.
I probably, if we're dealing with specifically with the Scott Lang Ant-Man, because back in my what the heck? Okay, anyway. Sorry.
Oh yeah, look at that.
I don't know what's going on. Anyway, I will
talk quickly.
Anyway, so the source material I'm used to is Hank, and Ant-Man in the Marvel universe to me was always like the Atom in the DC universe. And so in the DC universe, the Atom has a villain named Kronos who is all about time. Kang has never really fought Ant-Man on his own, so I was like, oh, are they kind of taking Kang and Kronos are kind of the same anyway? Are they grafting that onto this to make it work better? Because it didn't make sense why Ant-Man would be fighting Kang based on source material. So
wouldn't that be illegal?
No.
Stealing from DC?
It's only illegal if, like, they changed Ant-Man's name to the Atom and Kang's name to Kronos. The companies are constantly back and forthing with stuff like that. Anyway, the other thing is the Atom in the 80s had a story called The Sword of the Atom, where he basically left the real world and shrunk down into this tiny little place that's kind of like the quantum realm with their own races of people and stuff. And I think they just kind of melded Atom stories into this to make it work for them properly. I enjoyed the film. I wasn't really sure what to expect from it, especially since Phase 4 was so roller coaster, but it was very enjoyable. I think that from what I was originally reading, that Michael Pena was supposed to be in the movie, and it's very possible that he shot scenes and they cut them because the film really moves. I mean, it gets to the core of its story. It's like, okay, I'm Scott Lang. I wrote a book. This is what I'm doing now. And Cassie and Hank invented this machine, and we're in the quantum. I mean, just literally, it cuts to the chase very fast, and it moves through its story. It doesn't overstay its welcome at all.
Thank God it was only 2 hours and 5 minutes.
Exactly. Because it probably could have had more. Like you're talking about not having that story between Kang and Janet, over those 30 years. And it's just not computing properly in that sense. I I think when Janet says she was down there for 30 years, I think that's upper world time or
Yeah.
down world time. Because I feel like if it's 2025 or whatever it is in the MCU now, that you have to backtrack 30 years. It's in the 80s, but wasn't Hank doing his stuff in like this? Can't remember the timeline anymore. So that didn't bother me as much. MODOK's a weird character. Even in the comic books, he's a weird character. I think for whatever reason they decided to use him, they at least got him in an interesting way. So
Was MODOK originally the bee?
no,
The guy.
no connection
Okay.
whatsoever to anybody, honestly. But I liked that. I actually liked that they made him
worked.
Yellow Jacket, or I can't remember the character's name at this point. Corey Stoll played him.
Crystal, yeah.
I like that aspect of the film.
Darren,
Darren Cross.
Darren Cross, right.
I remembered something.
Right.
Eh,
It's a good setup for Phase 5. I'm interested to see where things are going. Jonathan Majors is an amazing actor. He was great in his one episode of Loki, and he was very different as that version of
he
Kang
was.
than from this version. And it's going to be interesting to see him going forward, because obviously, when you talk about the post-credit sequence, we get a shitload of Kang. So it'll be interesting to see what comes out of that. I had already looked up what I had given the other two films. I was like, oh, I gave them 3.25 each. So I kind of got to go the same with this, because I liked it a little better than Ant-Man and the Wasp, and a little less than the first Ant-Man, because I did miss that every guy kind of storyline. But and for a movie called Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, I felt like there wasn't a lot of Wasp in the movie, which might have
No.
been fine anyway at the end of the day, but why call it that? So
Agreed.
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah. I don't. Yeah. I'm glad she wasn't around.
Yeah.
Annie King.
Yes, I have 2 more points I forgot. I love that they use Welcome Back.
Oh
as
my
the-
God.
Love that.
Amazing.
And then at the very end, if we can go to post credit
Okay. The
Yeah.
post-credit sequence, the meeting of the Kangs. Go ahead.
No, that part wasn't it. But when they did Quantumania and Ant-Man is in that word, I was just like,
We
oh
were
my
both like,
God.
what?
that
But
was
it's
so
really
cool.
not. I mean, obviously, there's a letter in between Ant and Ant.
But it's still right there.
Yeah, that
Beautiful.
was funny. That was funny.
That was so cool. So
All
And
right,
since
so
we're running out of time, I just want to say I wore my Marvel shirt today.
Nice.
I'm in the other universe.
you could have said that during your time
I forgot. I totally forgot.
instead of talking about a movie we didn't even watch. All right, so meeting of the Kangs. Now, for me, that little post-credit sequence was a little annoying, because I'm like, oh, okay, so now there's 1,000 of them, so
Yeah.
gonna defeat all 1,000 of them. Any
that's-
thoughts
that's-
on that?
That's what the Kang dynasty is gonna be about when we get to Phase 6. So
All
Lord.
the possibilities.
I assume so.
Okay,
yes,
I didn't stay for
there could be movies for the next 30 years.
right.
Really?
Well,
With
they're
the
not going to do
Kang.
that. They're gonna tie it all up just like they did with Thanos. So they've already planned out into Phase 6.
Right.
We've got the Kang dynasty and then Secret Wars. So
Right. Kang went the dynasty.
Ah,
I did
3:39
not say
left.
I did not say for the second sequence. What was it?
Yeah, me neither.
oh, all right. So it's basically a setup for season 2 of Loki. We see another version of Kang by the name of Victor Timely in the 1800s doing some sort of lecture, and Loki and Mobius are in the audience, and Mobius is like, "That's the guy you're afraid of?" He's like, "Yes," and that was pretty much it. So
Okay. Ant-Man and the Wasp was only available in the theaters. You have to go see it there. Next week, we are watching our 5th Best Picture nominee of 1998, Elizabeth, starring Kate Blanchett. It's not on your usual subscription services. You can rent it from Prime or Vudu for $3.99, or go to your library. Or you know what, kids.
Drop it in the box.
Any last minute anything?
All I'll say is that just from the comics, Kang is actually like a blue humanoid alien. So I enjoyed when he had this like little blue all over because it was reminiscent of how he kind of looked in the
He has a
comic.
blue outfit on in your picture right
Yeah,
there.
but when he put like his little like helmet thing on or whatever,
It was blue.
it was blue.
That would be a perfect opening to discuss all the different Kangs that exist in the comic books and who Kang is actually related to, but I'm not going to spoil any of that. So,
Oh, I don't know that. I just know he used to fight the Fantastic Four. That's it.
There's a
Wasn't he a
reason for-
Klingon?
no, well, yes, there is a
He
Kang.
was
the
a Klingon and he's one of the Simpsons aliens.
Yes.
Okay, well, it's nice that he
Oh,
gets
I get it.
So.
Okay, that's it for us. I'm Frank Gaffney. Go watch a movie.
And also with you.
Joel, turn this thing